Coming up on tonight's Sweet and Sour with me, your host, Glenn Hall, we have a fantastic panel of guests and some very interesting letters for them to discuss. Is Australia a country that practices what it preaches? We have one person writing in a letter to find out whether that's true. Also, we have a mum who's worried that her kids are going to abandon their stressed out dad. She's worried that they should have their dad in their life, even though he's a bit of a stress head. And our final letter comes from someone who wants to talk about Titanic 2. The first one was a complete stuff-up. Do we really need to build another one? Well, we'll find out what we could do with that money rather than building Titanic 2 or even making the movie Titanic 2 in just a little bit on Sweet and Sour.
Got a problem, big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our motley crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, cause baby it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Really? Is that right? It's incredible. Good evening and welcome to another episode of Sweet and Sour. I'm your host, Glenn Hall, for this evening. Gary, of course, is in Cyprus at the moment, taking all of his money out of the bank accounts there. So we'll be having him back very soon. But a great panel of guests to introduce to you this evening, here to talk about these letters and solve some problems. First of all is Travis Beasley. Great to see you, Travis.
G'day, Glenn. How you going?
Very well, very well. You've just started a new business with your wife.
I have my own.
Why would you do that?
Well, because I love her dearly.
All right, of course.
And there is someone else in the team who can get between us when that needs to happen.
Fair enough. Great. And what are you guys doing? You're Maypop.
Yeah, we are Maypop, maypop.com.au. It is a media and communications business. We give advice. Hence my appearance here tonight.
I think it's all perfect. It's all making sense to me right now.
Well, I hope that it makes dollars and cents for me.
No, it's good to have you here, Travis. You'll add a lot of sense to the panel tonight, I'm sure, especially with the young lady next to you. Who knows what she's going to say tonight. She's an improviser. She just makes it up. Hannah Rice, welcome.
Hello, Glenn. How are you today?
I'm good, I'm good. Do you ever wish you had the ability to go into an enclave?
I suppose so, among other things that I wish for,
Yep.
Such as a dragon.
You wish
in
for
my
a dragon?
backyard.
Yeah.
Wish for more pets.
More pets?
Yep.
Not including the dragon.
I've got a long list of things that I wish for, Glenn.
I'm just interested because it sounds like a great thing to do, just to go with your mates into an enclave and the black smoke pours out.
I think he means conclave.
Oh, conclave. Of course. I always get those wrong. Conclave and enclave. Oh, well, thank you.
You know what, Glenn? You know me, I'm up for anything.
Yeah.
So if you're offering...
Hey, I've got a conclave just out the back.
Great, we'll go right now.
Yeah.
We'll just leave this all behind.
We can ditch this.
All these great letters, you don't get to hear them.
No, we can't do that. We can't do that because we have Sharon Greenock here.
Stay.
Media, mayhem, mum, magic.
Oh, indeed, yes. If you're a mum, you've got to wield a little bit of magic now and again.
How many kids have you got now?
17? Hang on. 5.
5, still 5. Okay, well that's good. That's nice.
Yeah.
And your eldest has just gone away, hasn't she?
She's left. She's gone away.
How are you coping with that?
She was otherwise known as the babysitter because she was the eldest, so she's gone. Yes, look, I'm coping very well actually. I stalk her. These young people are on social media, so I just stalk her constantly. I comment on everything that she puts on Facebook.
Just so she knows.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Just so she knows. No, that's good. That's very good. I think it's a very positive thing to do, to take such a healthy interest in your children.
Mothers must.
Chris Bedding, hello. How are you? I got enclave and conclave wrong, but you're really here to talk about a different kind of church, aren't you?
Yes, at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, you can see me and famous comedian Wurzel Montague in Pirate Church, comedyfestival.com.au. Buy tickets.
Can you give us a joke? Like, is there a pirate church joke?
No, because it's satire and it doesn't lend itself to punchlines.
Right.
But I can tell you that there is free rum for everybody.
Oh.
So that that's a highlight of the evening for a lot of people.
You need not be funny.
Absolutely.
No, there's free rum. What do you do with a drunken sailor?
Oh, put him in the scuppers with a hose pipe on him is our traditional
That's always
method.
kind of disturbed me, that one. Put him in the scuppers with a hose pipe on him. Let's think on that no more. Let's get to our first letter. Nice to see you all, and see what you think about this. Hello, panel. You know, we've been having this debate about people coming to Australia since people started coming to Australia. The one common argument is that we expect people who want to come here to become Australians, to become one of us, to integrate, work hard and add to the nation's collective wealth. That's just to show a commitment and become good Aussies. I've just worked out why the hell it doesn't bloody work that way, even though we all agree. It's simply because we don't practice what we preach. We invite everyone who fits our government-prescribed criteria to come here and be one of us, but we don't bloody well expect it of our number one position, the Queen of Australia. I'm not sure if she'd like swearing in a sentence that contained the Queen of Australia, but still, I love the lady and all that. I really do, but she doesn't live here. She doesn't add to our nation's collective wealth. She doesn't even integrate because, through no fault of her own, she is by birthright a POM, first and foremost. Time to get the symbols in this country right, everyone, especially the top job. It's got to be held by one of us. Why didn't that pathetic Republican group ever mention this? How do we get it done, panel? Kerry, Nedlands, WA, seeking answers. Hannah, what do you say?
Firstly, Kerry, the Queen is pretty much accepted by everybody in Australia. And she's the one person who's in charge that doesn't actually live here. Think of all the people who are in charge. We have a Queen of Australia, our lovely Prime Minister. So if you'd like to devote some affection towards someone who's holding a top job, I think you should devote it to her, because I really feel like Australians aren't actually looking out for Australians when they are in charge. So this letter angers me.
It angers you?
Yep.
You're angered?
Yeah.
Don't be angered. But aren't you kind of agreeing with Kerry? He's saying we're not pulling our weight. We want everyone to come here, but we're not practicing what we preach.
Well, I think we are. You know, I think we work hard and do our bit, and I think the people coming here do the same.
Travis, what do you think?
Well, my issue, Kerry, is with this statement here. We have one common argument, is that we expect people who come here to become Australians, to become one of us, to integrate. What? This is rubbish. We don't expect people to come here and integrate. We expect people to come here and be happy. That's all we ask for. And when the Queen comes here, even when she comes with her gastroenteritis, she comes and she's happy and she makes people happy. She's welcome, she's not one of us, but she can come here and be happy.
And that's why she didn't shake hands on the last trip, except with our Premier. Sharon?
Look, I've been waiting a long time to be compared as similar to the Queen, in fact. And when we say POM first, that's Queen Elizabeth and myself. But listen to this. This is the sound of an Aussie. We are all Aussies, and this is how some of us sound. Quite a lot of us sound like this, actually. Who else are we going to get? Are we going to get an actor, a politician, a multi-billionaire because they have the most money to choose? She seems to me, I obviously have a soft spot for her, but she seems to me the perfect person. She just visits every now and again. She never outstays her welcome. She does all the symbolic thing with koalas and kangaroos and the bush and the city, and wears the appropriate, I mean, the outfits are to die for, let's face it.
So she's not really causing the problem?
No, she's not causing any problem at all. I think if you get someone who's here already, they'll be in our face all the time, annoying us on a daily basis. She's perfect.
What do you think, Chris?
I'm with Kerry all the way.
Yeah.
I believe that we should kill every aristocrat in the world and then hang their bodies from the walls of our cities as a sign that there shall never be oppressive power in this nation again.
It's not Game of Thrones. It's
Oh.
actually real life.
Oh, is she real?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was just like a reality TV show.
No, she's very real.
Oh, sorry.
She
In
has
which case,
real ladies in waiting.
well, fetch her a gin and tonic then.
Yes.
Well, I think there you go. We've found a solution to Kerry's letter here. I think we're pretty much all agreed that Kerry has got it wrong, that actually people come here to be themselves and to have a good time and get along with each other regardless of their differences. not just become one of us. Let's face it, you don't want to become one of these people. All right, so we're going to come back very soon with our next letter, and it's a doozy. We'll see you soon. Welcome back to Sweet and Sour. It's been a fun evening indeed. And for the people who wrote letters and sent them in, it's going to get even more fun. You can send your letters to letters@sweetandsour.net.au. You can like us on facebook.com/sweetandsour, or you can visit our website, sweetandsour.net.au. And the people whose letters we've used this evening are going to get free tickets to see I Give It a Year. Yes, I Give It a Year. There it is right there for you now. A fantastic movie starring people. And it's about a story of some people who do things and at some point it doesn't go well and then it finishes okay. So spoiler alert there, but I Give It a Year. Fantastic movie. All right, well look, let's get on with our next letter. Here we go. Sweet and Sour panellists. I've been divorced for 6 years. I have 3 kids who, after all this time, now don't want to see their dad. I encourage them to call and see him whenever they can, but they don't feel comfortable whenever they're with him, simply because he's such a stress head and the kids find it far too tense when they are with him. We have a good arrangement and it's up to the individual kids if and when they see their dad. I'm worried because I think the kids will need a father figure, especially at this point in their lives, as they're all now teenagers, and from our last letter we know what they do. My eldest is 16 and it's been 3 weeks since he's ever spoken to his dad. I'm pretty traditionally minded and lament this position, but perhaps I may be too concerned about the need to have a mature man in their lives. What might my kids be missing if they abandon their dad, and will this leave them a problem as adults? I'm worried about them. Renee from McGill in South Australia. Chris, she sounds worried. Is she really worried, do you think?
No, look, I don't think she actually has a great deal to be worried about. The thing that she should be worrying about is her parenting skills. The big mistake that Renee has made is in giving her children choices. Children are idiots, right? They don't know what they want, and the role of adults is to show them what they need to do. So it's not, would you like to see daddy? It's, mummy needs to drink lots of wine tonight, so you're going to daddy's house. You see the subtle difference in decision making for Renee. Yeah. And you can improve Renee. It's not too late.
And I think it's interesting, isn't it, Sharon, because now there's a big focus in schools where schools are actually writing in newsletters that parents have to tell their children no.
Unbelievable. It's one of the best jobs ever. Say no right from tiny. Crawling towards the TV? No. It's the most powerful word you can ever give your child. But I do disagree with Chris because teenagers, they do need to make some decisions. But Renee, I've got to tell you, sweetheart, I think you're the stress head. In most homes, a 16-year-old boy not speaking or seeing his father for 3 weeks is probably normal. That's when the father's living in the same house. So I don't think you've got very much to worry about. The bit I agree with Chris on is, when do you get some you time so you can stop being so stressy? Stop writing the script for your children. You can be prescriptive on when is your time, mummy time, bye, off you go, children, you're seeing daddy. If you have a rubbish time, talk to daddy about it. That's why mummy no longer lives with daddy.
It might be a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh,
that idea that when you talk up a problem, well, then the problem definitely
Parents write
occurs.
the script all the time. You need to start saying, as well as us saying you're beautiful, you're a princess, you're gorgeous, we need to start saying you can be a bit of a dickhead, you need to pull your head out of your bottom, you need to talk to people, and so on, so on.
Your head is firmly outside of your bottom, Hannah. What do you think? How can Renee help?
Well, she says that her kids can't hang out with their father because he's stressed out and they find it intense. But then later she says that they need a mature man in their lives. Yeah. So is he really a mature man if he's making his own kids feel this way? I say, tell them they're not seeing their father anymore. Find yourself a new man that can be their new daddy and they can see him all the time.
Ah, I like it. So, I mean, is that really it? They don't feel comfortable around him because he's a stress head and he's far too tense. I think there's something else going on here. Travis Beasley, can you read between the lines?
Look, I know a thing or two about fathers. I've had 3 myself. And what I think Renee needs to do, and just sort of covering off, is bring home more men. Try out more men to see how your kids cope with a different man every night, a couple every night, and see how that goes, and try and find the right one that is the right fit for your family. That's the thing to do, Renee.
Or you could bring home some deadbeat dads and show the kids just how good their dad really is. So look, so many ideas for you there, Renee. Please write back and let us know how you get on, because we really do care. We'll be back with more Sweet and Sour in a moment after this.
Sour, it's that special taste that encases your mouth in the morning. Oh, and write us a letter.
Welcome back to Sweet and Sour. We're almost there, but wait, we have just a little more gold for you. But before we do that, let me tell you that tonight's best letter, as decided by our panellists, will receive a pair of sunglasses from Aussie Opticals. That's right, something to hide behind when the people recognise you in the street as being the person that sent in this letter. And this one is an absolute cracker. This is from George in Glebe, and George has a really legitimate question. He says, "Hi there. You know that the system really doesn't work when one man has so many spare dollars that on a whim he wants to create the Titanic 2 and goes ahead and does it. Surely we're idiots to be continually sucked in to stay peddling on the hamster wheel, which gives us enough to be fed, but gives people like Clive Palmer obscene wealth that would otherwise feed, clothe and educate so many in the world. Why do we need another Titanic 2? What does it take to have people of each country say enough is enough to the obscenely greedy who simply exploit the rest of us to their advantage? Really, what does it take? I am incensed that as a struggling dad, I have to be subjected to an economic system that gives me no relief, but gives fellas like that an unfettered license to ignore any social responsibility. Will we have to wait until we're starving and we have to take to the streets before the people wake up? George from Glebe in New South Wales. Sharon? He sounds upset.
George. Well, you know, George, you say, you know, the system really doesn't work. Well, we know, George, when you start using sentences like the system. George, we're all part of the system, apparently. I thought hell would freeze over before I would ever come to Clive Palmer's defence, because he is quite a large character, therefore he invites a certain level of ridicule. However, George, you failed to mention the hundreds of millions of dollars that philanthropic Clive Palmer gives for medical research, gives for disadvantaged children. It was only in December last year he threw a massive Christmas Day bonanza for 650 disadvantaged children. Perhaps you should have wrote to him, George, and he might have invited you and your children. Time for you to get off the poor me, George soapbox and start using your energy. A lot of energy was put into this letter. Use that energy and start making life work for you. Personally, I have never been exploited by Clive Palmer, and I actually don't think you have either, George.
So what you're saying is just take a bit of control of your life.
Well,
if you think you're being exploited, don't allow it to happen.
Obscenely greedy? I wonder what George would do if he won the lottery this weekend. Would he consider the $2 million an obscene amount? What amount is obscene? Last I knew, Clive Palmer was running legitimate businesses. I didn't hear he was laundering money or selling drugs. He's a businessman, a big businessman, but he's a businessman. George, get out there.
What amount of money is obscene, Chris? Is it enough to, say, take a bath in? Would that be an obscene amount of money?
Glenn, an obscene amount of money is when you have more than you need to meet your basic needs. Sharon and Clive basically want to just grab everything that the world has to offer, amass it to themselves, and just wallow in it. You know, just rejoice in it and lick the money
like
and rub it over their body. That's right. But people like George and I, we want the workers to take hold of the means of production and to take back what belongs to the common man, so that beginning with little acts and spreading throughout the world, we can spread justice throughout this whole planet. George, you're a commie like me. And
I knew you wore red for a reason this evening.
Absolutely. And I say, just like Cuba and China and the Soviet Union, Australia too needs to head down this path so that we can enjoy the positive benefits that they've experienced.
Are we back on Game of Thrones?
We are.
That's exactly
King's Landing. He's talking about King's Landing. But yes, no, Travis, what do you think? I mean, is George's problem really that his wife is going to go and take him to Titanic 2?
George should be looking forward to Titanic 2. The most exciting thing about this letter is that there will be a Titanic 2 with Clive Palmer and Gina Reinhardt on the bow of the ship.
Oh, no.
Celine Dion in the background.
No.
The big cuddle.
They could afford her.
They could. Do you think they could afford her? And the other scene that I'm so looking forward to is when he sketches her. The sketch of Gina Reinhardt with... Anyway, that's the thing that we most have to look forward to about Titanic 2. But I don't have an issue with Clive Palmer can do whatever he likes with his money. He's earned it. He's dug it out of the ground. And, you know, the other thing that he has dug out for us is a whole lot of comedy gold. And he is rich in that, and we get a lot of benefit from Clive in keeping us all entertained. Bring it on.
Do you think, Hannah, in a capitalist society, which we clearly live in, as much as, you know, to Chris's chagrin it is, do you think that people really owe it to be philanthropic? I mean, isn't it about make what you can? And
it is. Yeah, it is, Glenn. People with lots of money, they don't owe it to society to share it with them, because when we're young, we're taught that if we have a dream, we should go for that dream. And Clive Palmer's dream was to build the Titanic and possibly see Gina Reinhardt sketched nude. I think that if I had the amount of money that he has, I would definitely build the Titanic too. I'd make the next movie, I'd make 1 billion ships.
But wouldn't you invite people to live on it or something?
No, they can pay.
Use it. I mean, it'd be nice to use it in a practical way, wasn't it?
Yes, I'd take it on cruises. What, is he not letting other people onto his ship?
I'm not sure. I'm just thinking, I mean, I guess...
I don't think he's building the Titanic 2 to not let anyone on it.
What George is saying, should we be doing something else with this money when people need to be fed and clothed and educated around the world? Should we really be building the Titanic 2?
Well, as Sharon said, he can have the best of both worlds. You know, he can be philanthropic and give to charity, and he can build the Titanic. He can have his Titanic and eat it if he wants to.
Well, there you go. He can have his Titanic and eat it. And I think...
he probably will.
Yeah, and I think you've answered George's letter beautifully, that, you know what, people are entitled to spend what they've got. Now, we need to come up with, which is the favourite letter?
Titanic.
Titanic,
Sure.
Chris?
No, I disagree.
Of course, but that doesn't matter.
Divorced parents.
Yeah, you've been outvoted. George from Glebe wins the sunglasses from Aussie Opticals. Travis Beasley of maypop.com, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Can I just suggest that maybe George from Glebe should give Renee from McGill a phone call?
She's expecting him. That's great.
Perfect.
Hannah Rice, thank you so much for being here again.
Always a pleasure, Glenn.
Thank you. Sharon Greenock, you delightful, lovely thing.
Thank you.
And Chris Bedding, you wonderful human being.
When the revolution comes, you'll be the first to die.
And if nothing else, you'll take away from this show the lovely image of Clive Palmer sketching Gina Reinhardt nude. Good night.